we're going to celebrate women in sports. The San Francisco Giants and Renel Brooks-Moon have decided to part ways. Now, in the public release, it says that they're mutually parting ways. However, Ann Killian of the San Francisco Chronicle, columnist for the Chronicle, longtime columnist, mentions in her story, she touches on this. The headline is, Giants' latest messaging malfunction, parting with Renel Brooks-Moon, popular PA announcer. She's been the only PA announcer at Oracle Park. This would have been her 25th year in that booth. The Chronicle first reported this. But in the third paragraph, Shasky, it says, in Ed Killian's column, friends of Brooks-Moon, the highest profile African-American in the Giants organization, say she is being forced out of the dream job she has held for 24 seasons. Sudden departure is a shock. I know she's going to, Renel, she's a pro, and, she's going to take this in stride. Mm-hmm. She's going to thank the Giants for 24 years of service, and she's going to be around the team, and she's not going anywhere. But we're not going to be able to hear her voice for every single home game. So on a day, we celebrate Women's Empowerment Month with the Golden State Warriors, having an all-women's broadcast. And I can't wait to take my mom to the game today and have her meet the ladies there at the Gatehouse. And a day after, Bay FC goes out to L.A. as we support women's professional soccer in the Bay Area. As soccer grows and grows and grows, and we support these young women. And it was a fun game yesterday watching that game. I watched every second of it. And obviously having a daughter. The timing. The Giants just can't do anything right. Whether it's J.D. Davis, whether it's Sam Coonrod, I just don't, why? It's their 25th season. We couldn't figure this out 2 weeks before opening day. I think, and I know it's hit me. I'm getting a little personal here because we've grown to know Renel Brooks-Moon. She's been great to the show. She's been great for us here at 95.7 The Game. She calls me nephew. She texts me on the side. I know her niece Megan. This one bothers me a little bit, Shasky.
Well, so I always look at things like this, and I ask myself, it's not the decision that you make. Mm-hmm. It's how you go about it.
Right.
And I think that that's the big problem with just the Giants as a whole. And this is one of the many microcosms. I'm trying to think back to when Bob Sarlott, who was the PA announcer for the 49ers, when he got replaced in his job, I think a lot of people were outraged because of how it went down. Mm-hmm. And I think people were mad at the Niners no matter what at that time because of the whole leaving the city and everything like that. And Bob Sarlott was associated with Niner games. A lot of people, you hear the voice, and I don't even know how many people in my audience even remember. I don't know. I don't know. I remember, but I don't know how many people. And I've known Bob for a long time. Great guy. Coached for 30 years in CYO. Just a very generous person. Right. And I remember when they made that move, people were mad, not just that they made the move, but how they went about it. And then there was a lot of things thrown back and forth in terms of ageism and things like that. And, basically, hinting at there was a form of discrimination, if you will. Something like this. I always ask myself, okay, if you want to make a change and a position, right? Let's say for whatever reason, whatever that reason might be, we want to try someone else. Right. It's performance-based. It's whatever this is. How did you handle it? How did you do it? There's a way when someone has dedicated this much time to one company, there's a way of going about things, even if you want to change direction for whatever reason, to where even if the person's frustrated or they didn't like the way the decision was made, you could see this coming, and I feel like there's always a safer landing point. One thing I have to say about our boss and Matt Hegan, him and I don't always agree on everything. In fact, he frustrates the hell out of me at times, and he's probably listening to this right now. But there were certain moments in our career, and I know you could speak to this, B, where we thought very long and hard how we were going to present something to the audience. Mm-hmm. And how things land in people's laps does matter. Yep. It really does. There's always going to be blowback when you make decisions. Doesn't matter what it is. No doubt. Someday they're going to move off of you and me. I don't know when that's going to be, but someday they will. And I hope it is done in a way that, I'm not going to be happy. I know that, but
respectfully.
Exactly. And I think when you see this happen so close to the regulars, it is March 18th. Opening day for the Giants at home is on the 6th of April.
Right.
How are we just finding this out right now?
Right, 18 days before.
So
and
I
the
guess
pressure on this new PA announcer, not to cut you off, is going to be immense. Those are tough shoes to fill. It's a no-win situation
Paul
for her.
Tonelli took over for Bob Sarlat. Paul Tonelli is a radio Hall of Famer.
Yep.
I love Paul Tonelli on the side. I love Bob
Yep.
Sarlat too.
Yep.
That was a tough spot to be put in. And you know what? He's been amazing. When I go, it's third down.
My daughter loves that.
Exactly.
That's Nelly. And he's been great to us.
He has been great to me. And he was great to my dad. He used to golf them at Glen Eagles. And so, like, it's really difficult replacing someone of that ilk and a legend. So that's why I'm a big believer in there's a delicate way of handling these things, and it's how these things are done, because it does matter. Like how things are done and how you put it out there. To say you mutually parted and then everyone kind of reads between the lines like you do this 2 weeks before. To me, it's another bad look by the Giants.
It's just they can't get out of their own way.
That's what I'm saying.
They cannot get out of their own way. I don't know what's going on down there, but look, again, according to Ann Killian's article, people close to Renel says she's blindsided. She's not thrilled about this. Again, that third paragraph. Friends of Brooks-Moon, Renel, our auntie, here on the roast, and our auntie in real life, because I ran into her. I'll see her at the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame dinner. I can't wait to do that and give her a big fat hug. The highest profile African. Think about this. She don't even play for the team. And she's the highest profile African American in the Giants organization. That says a lot about where the Giants are at right now. That means a lot to me because growing up watching the Giants, it was a melting pot. I grew up loving Jose Uribe.
Yeah.
He's from the Dominican. Where is he from? Venezuela, Dominican Republic, forget which country. Kurt Manwating, white. Matt Williams, one of my favorite players ever, white. But then you also had D. Lou. You had Royce Clayton. You had Bonds, obviously.
Kevin Mitchell.
You have Kevin Mitchell. You had the Alou brothers.
Yeah.
You had Shinjo at one point. It was a melting pot of who's who that represented the great diversity of the Bay Area. And the fact that Renel Brooks-Moon is now the highest profile African American in the Giants organization says a lot about where the Giants are at. Like, in the first place, we don't have a team that represents the community. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's why a lot of fans have been out on the Giants. Now they got to win some games, and if they win, people will be back, no doubt about that. But she's been there for 24 seasons, going into her 25th season. The only voice at Oracle Park. So it's just the timing doesn't seem right.
It's how you do it.
And she's one of ours.
Yeah.
The reason why, and somebody told me this over the weekend. Phil Mike called us Friday. Phil Mike said he called the show. He said, Shasky and Bonta, you guys are legends in the city. You guys are role models for people growing up in this market, in the city. You guys are one of us.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of hosts, and God bless their souls, there's been a lot of hosts that's been in and out of this market that's not really from here.
Yeah.
Renel Brooks-Moon is Bay Area. KMEL, growing up, in our cars, in the morning. If you weren't listening to sports radio, you listen to Renel on 106 KMEL on the morning show. Like, seriously, she is one of ours. She is Bay Area through and through. She's one of ours. So when you do things in a way that, I don't even want to use the word disrespect, but basically you part ways with one of our own from our own community who represents our community to the fullest. When you think about like the E40s and the Mullies, there's Renel Brooks-Moon right there.
It's at minimum a bad look.
At minimum.
But see, to me, like, and again, there might be different parts of the company. The Giants are a business, right? So there might be different parts of the Giants making different decisions, but there's a consistent theme. J.D. Davis and his agent and the baseball world were blown away by how it went down regarding arbitration.
Right.
The agent for Carlos Correa and all of MLB was blown away at how it went down. Right? Like there's the Gabe Kapler situation, firing him with 3 days left to go in the regular season. Well, I know we've kind of forgotten about it because everybody didn't like Gabe Kapler. It was odd to wait till you did it on a Friday. You couldn't have let him just coach the other 2 games out.
And I believe it was a day after the Giants celebrated the tenure of Mario Alioto. And everybody was at the Fairmont, and everybody was like, you're celebrating an all-time Giant. And so I want to make it clear here because I see a comment, and I will address it. I'm not calling the Giants racist, the organization racist at all. I'm not doing that. But the fact that we don't have a lot of representation of what the Bay is, which is full of diversity, a who's who, whether it's Filipinos, Indians, people from the Middle East, don't matter. That's what the Bay is. That's why I love the Bay, because we got a who's who. That's why we grow up, and we love all people. There's no racism here on this show. We don't care about that. But the fact that at this point in the Giants organization that Renel Brooks-Moon, there's no shade at Renel Brooks-Moon, But she's the highest profile African-American in this organization right now, our PA announcer, which she should still be our PA announcer. But what's going on the team? The lack of athleticism, the lack of speed. Now, the Giants seem like they're getting back to what they were when we grew up. Jorge Soler, I'm excited about him. Jung-Hoo Lee coming over from
Very
Korea.
excited for
That's
him.
a big step in the right direction. You get Matt Chapman at our third base. Now we're getting back to what the Giants represent.
But I think one of the golden era of Giants baseball from, let's just say, 2009, even though it was the year before they won the World Series, to about 2017, even though they had a bad year in 20. Let's call that the golden era. That's about a nice 10-year run there. The one thing that I would say about the Giants that they learned from the Eddie DeBartolo 49ers of the 80s and 90s, class.
Yep.
Everything they did was with class and pomp and circumstance, and they did a great job celebrating their history, and they did a great job elevating their own, whether it's John Miller and pitching for him to, vote for the Hall of Fame award, or Lon Simmons getting him into the Hall of Fame, Kruk and Kipe. The way that they did business was always first class. They always took care of everyone.
So good. Such a good point.
And I think that, like, when I think of all of the pre-game ceremonies, Renel was a part of it. John Miller was a part of it. Kruk and Kipe, they would bring in Willie Mays.
Nobody did it like the Giants for a long time. The Giants were
the gold standard.
The Giants were. It's like, man, they know how to throw a party.
Exactly.
When they announced the winner of the Willie Mack Award, it's one of my favorite days of the season when you got Willie Mack. There's rest in peace, Willie McCovey. But you get Mike Krukow up there discussing the history of the Giants, and you see all the former Willie Mack Award winners. And you see them all up there, plastered or who's who. That's special to the Giants. And they know how to throw a party.
No, but
they've lost a little bit of that.
That's what I'm saying. They were a well-oiled machine. Think about this. Maybe I'm a weirdo. 2011, they win their first championship. Do you remember the ceremony of just raising the banner, of having Brian Wilson sprinted out to center field? It was like a 45-minute extravaganza. It was unbelievable. Every little detail was thought out and meticulous and perfect. When you go into that ballpark, every little, whether it's a sponsor, whether it's a piece of history, a piece of art, everything was like perfectly sequenced where it was. Everything was thought of. The details were buttoned up. And when I look at them now, everything seems to be very haphazard.
Yeah, and then you talk about a fan favorite. Like, I don't think people realize how popular Renel is with this organization.
Well, that's knowing your clientele, though, and understanding how a move like this is going to land.
Well, in Ed Killian's piece here about Renel Brooks-Moon, one close friend shared that after games, it would take Brooks-Moon 2 hours to make the 10-minute walk to her car because of all the fans who stopped her to chat or take a selfie.
It doesn't surprise me. Me and Nick Friedel, this was during COVID. It was me, Nick Friedel, my wife. I believe Langford was with us. We had a whole crew of us. We went to a Giants game, and we're coming out. It's COVID, okay? So it's like limited capacity. We're coming out. She was mobbed by people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a full capacity stadium. And then she came by, said hi to us, and she said something about Nick's voice, which was hilarious at the time. And then we stepped there, and we shot it for like 10 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, every 5 steps is another 10-minute interaction for her. All the way back to her car.
And you know what she would do?
Talk to everyone.
Say hello.
Yeah.
Whenever I text her, she responds right away. Like, she's a people's person.
So going back
she's a member of this community. But I want to be clear about something before we move on with this conversation, to continue this conversation. It's not about race. We're not saying the Giants are racist. We're not saying this was a race-related move.
No, I just think there's a graceful way of ending a relationship.
Yeah, no doubt. We're just bringing up the diversity with this team and the organization right now, where a lot of people within. I had a friend who worked in that organization and has moved on, and now works, I won't say where, but she works on the East Coast, and she was Latino. And she said, Bonta, the reason why I'm getting out is because we're not doing enough when it comes to diversity within this organization, and it's bothering me. I'm trying to have Latino Heritage Nights. I'm trying to have African-American nights. I'm trying to have all this stuff that you see the Warriors are doing now. Hey, Filipino night. We got, we celebrate Lunar New Year. The Warriors are now, when they come to presentations and bringing back the OGs like Clifford Ray and Rick Barry and Keith Jennings a couple years ago, Mr. Jennings or whatnot, Monte Ellis coming back for Alumni Night. The Warriors do a great job in that. And I think the Niners and Warriors have learned from the Giants on how to be not only just classy, because I think both organizations have been classy, but the Niners have really cleaned up their act under Joe Lacob. The Warriors have been first class all step through and through, all the way through since Joe Lacob, Peter Guber run this team. But they learned, like, the presentation, like ring night. When you go to Warriors ring night, you see Al Attles, and you see Rick Barry, and you see all the legends. The Giants did that so well, embracing their history. And for some reason, under this new regime, you know what? We've kind of lost that with the Giants.
There's a way of partying with someone. It's never going to be perfect, right? No one's saying that everyone's going to be happy. Someone's always going to feel bitter. Either the employer feels bitter that you're leaving, or you, the employee, is not ready to go. Very few times are both parties like, this is great, it ended perfectly. That doesn't happen in real life. Like you know what I mean, B, right? Like, but there's a way that you present it to your audience and to your consumer. And I just look at it this way. If I'm ranking like with the Giants, right? Like the Warriors have Tim Roy is an ambassador. He works for the Warriors. He's also an ambassador of the Warriors. Bob Fitzgerald works for. He's an ambassador. You, Bonta, although you are an indirect employee, if you will, of the Warriors, you also are an ambassador of the Warriors to a degree. Mully and Festus. If I was ranking the Giants in terms of name recognition, players, and then I call luminaries or fixtures of the organization, it's Larry Bear, Farhan, Kruk, Kipe, Renel's part of that somewhere. Fleming, John Miller. I know I'm omitting people. I know, but like, it was Mario Alioto.
Lee Jones. The great Lee J.
Exactly.
Shout out Lee J.
And maybe we're going too deep in this. I don't know how many, Niner fans think about it that way. I just look at it from a standpoint, if you're going to move off of any of those kind of people, how you do it, it does matter. It does in these situations when someone gives a quarter century of their life and represents on and off the job, the job so well and the team so well. I just think you have to think about how that's going to land with the audience.
No, it's not going to land well. And then Ann Killian later in this article, as we piece through this thing, she mentions how it's a bizarre move for a team trying to keep fans connected in this lackluster post World Series era. We're trying to get intrigued and we're trying to get psyched up for the Giants. And a week and a half before opening day, we're like, we just lost our PA announcer. The only voice we knew walking into Oracle Park, a soothing voice, our Bay Area's own Renel Brooks-Moon, one of the first African-American PA announcers in Major League Baseball. We're going to do this a week and a half before opening day.